Autoline Daily is brought to you by Dow Automotive Systems, improving durability and increasing design flexibility with Betamate structural adhesives at dowbetamate.com.
Here are today's top headlines. February sales came in better than expected in the American market. Ford gained the most from Toyota's problems, and the people at Suzuki better hit the panic button. Up next, we'll be back with the news behind the headlines. This is Autoline Daily for Wednesday, March 3rd, 2010, and here's the latest news on the sales front in the American market. Despite massive snowstorms that shut down thousands of dealers for days on end, and despite all of Toyota's problems, vehicle sales were up 13% over a year ago and up nearly 12% compared to the month before. The annualized sales rate, or SAAR, hit 10.3 million vehicles versus 9.1 a year ago. Not a great number, but definitely a big improvement. And consumers definitely swung more to the passenger car side of the business. Cars were up 17%, while trucks were up nearly 9%. So how did the Detroit 3 do? Ford had a fantastic month, up 43%. GM enjoyed double-digit growth, but Chrysler barely eked out a gain. However, let's bore a little deeper into the details and compare sales to the month before. Ford was up 22%, GM sales actually fell 3%, and Chrysler sales jumped nearly 50% over January. In other words, Ford and Chrysler saw big sales improvements over January, while GM went nowhere. No wonder GM CEO Ed Whitaker hit the roof and demanded a shakeup in the sales organization. Now, for the Asian automakers. Nissan had a great month, up nearly 30%. Honda enjoyed double-digit gains, so did Hyundai, while Toyota was off nearly 9%. And there's two very interesting stories when you look at the boutique brands. Subaru sales were up a whopping 38%. I am so impressed by how well Subaru has been doing for a number of years now. But at the opposite end of the spectrum, Suzuki sales fell a whopping 60%, and that is not an aberration, folks. Suzuki sales fell 32% compared to January. In fact, Suzuki only sold 1,375 cars last month, which is less than Land Rover. This spells disaster for Suzuki, unless it turns things around fast. And of course, we have to mention the major European brands. VW was up nearly 33%, and that includes both VW and Audi, who were up by that much. BMW posted solid double-digit growth, but Mercedes barely eked out a gain. The biggest segments in the market also tell interesting stories. In the midsize passenger car segment, the Honda Accord easily beat out all others with big gains. The Nissan Altima, which almost caught the Accord in January, didn't do nearly as well in February. But look at the massive increase in Ford Fusion sales. And I'm sure the folks at Ford were very pleased to outsell the Chevy Malibu. In compact cars, the Toyota Corolla and Matrix still beat out everyone else despite a drop in sales. But of course, I think that Toyota's cheating to combine these sales together. Everyone else in this segment did well, especially Nissan. But the contest wasn't even close in the full-size pickup segment. The Ford F-Series had a blowout month, truly a dominant performance. And even though the Nissan Titan showed a solid gain, the overall numbers are pretty weak. Looks like Nissan needs to tighten up its sales effort with this truck. Okay, now that we've seen the numbers, thanks to our friends at wardsauto.com, where we get all our numbers, which brands benefited the most from Toyota's meltdown? Well, on a percentage basis, the biggest gainers in order are Ford, Chevrolet, Nissan, Honda, and Hyundai. That's interesting to me because most analysts thought Honda and Hyundai would be the biggest gainers. Hey, coming up next, time for You Said It. And now it's time for some of your feedback. Nick Stevens saw our report on GM deciding not to do the Cadillac conversion, wrote in to say, I don't understand why the Converge would have to sell for $30,000 more than the already very expensive Volt. Do you really believe it takes $30,000 to rebadge a Volt as a Caddy? Well, Nick, remember that the Converge has completely different sheet metal than the Volt, both inner panels and outer panels at what? $12 million per die set per panel? It also has a completely different interior and a slightly different powertrain for more power. All of that extra tooling cost has to be amortized over the dinky little production run, and that's how the sticker price of the car ramps up so much. Ralph Kercheval loved yesterday's show. OMG, he writes, a whole show with no mention of Toyota and actually nice things to say about Ford. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not HID headlights. Thanks for noticing, Ralph. We're not going to chase every single little detail on the Toyota story, only the important ones, and we thought new product from Geneva was more interesting and definitely more fun. Tom Martin took us up on our offer to get free tickets to the Washington, D.C. Auto Show and wrote in to say, John, thank you for the 2 tickets to the Washington Auto Show. My wife and I attended. Tom, you're welcome, and thanks for writing. Hey, don't forget to join us tomorrow night for Autoline After Hours. Joining us for that show will be Sharon Carty, who covers the auto industry for USA Today. We're definitely going to have a lot to talk about with the management changes going on at GM, so don't miss the inside story of the shakeup at GM. That's tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern at www.autolinedetroit.tv. And that's it for today's top news in the global automotive industry. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.